What's going on, YouTube? I'm Rob.
And I'm Tyler.
Welcome to the Rabbit Hole. Today's discussion:
UFOs and the alien technology
and other intellectual life in this universe.
Let's get into it.
What's your thoughts?
I got a lot of thoughts on this one.
I'm not gonna lie, I do too.
See,
but the thing is, it's kind of like opposite. Because I know you're very much into aliens. I wouldn't say I'm huge into it. I used to be big into like, yes, there is intellectual life out there.
Yeah.
However, now I'm like kind of on the questioning side.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? There's that old saying, we're either alone in the universe or not. Both are equally terrifying.
Would you rather be alone in the universe, or would you rather intelligent life be a rarity or more common, but we just don't understand because we can't see the scope of it all?
See, that's the thing, like the scope of it all, the size of the universe being continuously expanding.
Inconceivable.
It's inconceivable, and the amount of Earth-like planets that we found, like in the the Goldilocks zone, where habitable life is formed, or at least habitable life as we know it. You know what I mean? Anything from single-cell organisms to something as complex as human. There's hundreds of those that we've already seen in multiple galaxies that are around us, like Andromeda, and even a lot in our galaxy. So the idea that we are alone, I mean, I'm not going to say there is or there isn't, but there's a very high probability that we aren't.
Well, let me ask you this: what is your consideration of alone? If we found single-cell organisms somewhere,
I would say we're not alone in the universe.
You would say we're not alone.
I would consider any life,
any other form of life,
any life
anywhere
in the universe, whether it's as intelligent as we are, not as intelligent as we are, or more intelligent as we are, almost like something that's transcendent, like gone to like almost like a level like 4 or level 5 civilization.
Yeah.
I believe that any life really in the universe is life, and we're not alone.
Yeah.
Thing is, I would be fine with finding like single-cell organisms because they don't pose a threat.
Right.
However,
it's just a nice discovery.
And at the same time, we really, we pose a threat, but not really to them because they really don't know anything about us because they're single-cell organisms.
Right.
Something that's a more advanced civilization, like a level 4, level 5 civilization, or something like us, where we're, I believe, level 3, just conquering space travel, but not going towards warp speed.
Well, I know there's a type scale that I know of, and we're type 0 civilization.
Oh, see, I thought we were type 3.
It goes up to type 3. Type 3 is the highest type of civilization.
See, I thought it was 0. 0 being like single-cell organisms, to like 3 being like around human, and then 4 and 5 being more advanced.
That sounds more like an ecological kind of scale. This one is more like a
sociological.
Yeah, and so socio-technical scale, really.
Right.
Because technology, without technology, some form of technology, obviously we could be much different than anything that they might have. Warp drives.
Speaking on technology, what is technology?
It's interesting.
Remember,
if you go back to when electricity was really, I would say electricity is the start of technology, but not really though, because
remember, not too long ago, like
geometry,
50 to 70 years ago, penicillin was the height of technology. 300-400 years ago, dude, like muskets, like flintlock and matchlock were the peak of technology. So, what is technology? Literally, but at the same time, does it have a cap? Does it have a starting point?
I'm not sure.
You could say Grug the caveman, like thousands of years ago, banging 2 rocks together to make a fire is technology.
So pretty much anything that you would use that an intelligent life form would use
as a tool
to make something
or
else.
Utility.
Yeah.
Right. Because now they're actually seeing capuchin monkeys and other smaller intelligent
the
apes.
orangutans.
Orangutans, and they're using rocks to crack open like nuts and
Yeah.
like coconuts and stuff.
Orangutans are starting to spearfish. They caught one in the Amazon or in Brazil somewhere.
Okay, I love
And
those videos.
it wasn't
Awesome.
it wasn't that they had taught the monkey how to do that. Like, it's a wild monkey. No one taught him how to do that, but he saw humans doing that
Yeah.
with spears, and he pretty much went, I can do that too. And he was catching fish.
Yeah.
Like, he caught fucking fish.
But like, on a furthermore note, like, if technology is simply a tool for you, do we not evolve with certain technological aspects? Like some,
absolutely.
like some predators, you know, I mean, like predators like eagles with extremely keen vision, and you know they can literally lock in on a target, almost like gyroscopic like tank turrets. And no matter what kind of banks they take, their eyes don't come focused off that target. Or you know, pit vipers and stuff like that, where they literally have pits that they can pick up thermals.
You know how you were asking about the cap on technology?
Yeah.
I think there is no cap on technology, but I think there is a cap to what a species can understand and what a species can know due to its senses and due to its hardware, as in, you know, our brain or
Right.
our eyes or our ears, smelling, tasting. You know, we have 5 senses, but who's to say that there's not another 5 that we don't even know about, because obviously we're oblivious.
Well, there's
If you look at an ant on the ground, the ant doesn't know you're there. The ant's in a 2D world.
Right.
You're living in a 3D world. The ant doesn't know that that third dimension even exists, so therefore, it doesn't understand you or anything about you.
what if we're the ant though?
That's exactly
That's
what I'm
that's
saying.
the part that scares me about intelligence.
Right?
Not really
Could be-
scares me,
It could be that.
but it is a concern.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Because-
or it's like on some sort of like, I was reading up and there was a theory on this like basically solar wide, almost like if there is intelligent life, maybe there's like solar wide like quarantine around the Earth. Or like, have you heard of like the zoo planet theories? Where like there is a more intelligent being that creates life on these planets, and it's all different kinds of life, but they don't allow each other to interact. So it's, like, you're in your own habitat. Like that's
So I have my own theory that I've kind of devised off of that
look at
theory.
that theory.
So I was thinking, not that I truly do believe this or anything, but it's just kind of having fun with imagination and thought.
Right.
So we've seen UFOs, we've seen the Tic Tacs, the Navy,
Right.
the U.S. Navy, the Mexican Navy, the Canadian Air Force.
The Bermuda Triangle.
All these countries are coming out with FLIR videos and actual, you know, classified documents about UFOs and unidentified aerial phenomenon and whatnot. So, that being said, if these things are really doing what the pilots are saying that they're doing, say you believe Commander David Fravor. If you haven't looked at his story, definitely go listen to his story.
That's the one where he came up on. It was like almost like a squadron of them, right?
Yeah.
Like almost like a
well,
basically like a delta formation, and they just accelerated like that.
well, no, that wasn't him. I think it might have been someone from like later in his formation, but
Right.
because he was the commander of a whole air wing, and what he did was he was on a practice mission
Right.
with Marines going to do defensive strategies for keeping planes away from aircraft carriers and whatnot.
Right.
Well, while he was doing that, they were catching on radar that they had been catching on radar for a while now. This thing that was coming down from above 80,000 feet, so space. It was coming down from above space to sea level, or a couple miles above sea level. And this thing would just hover there for hours at a time. It would do erratic movements. Commander Fravor saw it doing erratic movements, tried to make contact with it essentially, and as he banked down into it, it kind of responded to his presence
Right.
and mirrored everything that he did in a 180. So he was coming down in a spiral on top of it in a fighter jet.
If he banked right,
The thing came up left.
Would bank left, and so on. So
Absolutely. So he's coming down and it's coming up, and they're doing this,
Right.
and it's coming up to them, and at being a fighter pilot, going to Top Gun school and all this shit, you know, he's good at being able to make quick decisions on how to deal with targets. So
Right.
he says, what do you do when you're chasing a kid in a circle on the playground? How do you catch
Straight through
him?
the playground?
Well, yeah, you cut through the center of it.
Yeah.
So that's what he did. He pulled nose onto it, and the thing went
It just disappeared.
gone instantly, like off of radar that quickly, gone.
Shit.
Radar could not track it, and so this thing either moves so fast that
And this
that
was like
it
what?
defied
Was this
radar.
like in like the
This is
90s?
2004,
Oh no
off
shit.
the coast of San Diego.
So like really close, like on the
Yes.
on the East Coast.
Yeah, well, that would be West Coast, but there have been many East
San
Coast,
Diego. Yeah,
many
California.
many East Coast sightings as
I
well.
was thinking of
So.
I was thinking like Florida.
Right. So, if you believe Commander Fravor, and you believe his story, and you believe people like Bob Lazar, who claim to have worked at a site south of Area 51, S4,
Yeah.
you know, he worked on this technology, and he's seen many different things about this technology.
Yeah.
If you believe these people, and you believe that that technology is really there, and maybe it is an alien technology, if it is, we know that time dilation is a thing as you approach the speed of light, or you exceed the speed of light.
Yeah.
And so, who's to say that the zoo theory is absolutely correct, but it's not as much of a constant presence
Right.
as it is a intervention every now and then. So who's to say that they didn't see
So almost like
come up on Earth and they see this perfect planet? Oh look, it's in the Goldilocks zone. We got one star, so it's very stable. You know, there's no crazy shit that
right,
happens every now
no
and then.
binary system.
Right, there's nothing epic about this system, and all the giant gas planets have already separated into the outer orbits. We know that systems tend to do that when they become stable. The inner giants come in and they come out, they come in and they come out, and then eventually they stabilize in an outer orbit. And then all the rocky and smaller planets can come on the inside and they stabilize in their own orbits.
Well, isn't that mostly? I mean, like obviously the Earth's core is iron, and there's some sort of electromagnetic field.
Yeah,
So
right.
obviously, like rockier planets, planets that have like ferrous materials, are going to be more pulled towards the sun just because of
Absolutely.
Right.
I think you're exactly right.
Right.
And
But like as you were saying, like where it's like an interval. What if that's? Have you ever heard of like the military version, like they call it like probing?
yeah,
Like where you would send a small reconnaissance team, like here
Yeah.
and there, like you know, like go here like 1 week and then
Do
go
this,
here.
do
like
that,
going back
do
to the
this,
same
do
place,
that, yeah.
like every like week or two, and witness what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
What if it's that, but on a grander scale?
So let me continue.
Right.
They find Earth, or maybe they made Earth. Who fucking knows? Probably not made Earth. That seems a little more epic, but
Yeah.
if they find Earth and they go, you know what? Perfect experiment. Maybe they manipulated single cell organisms.
Right.
Maybe they found us a little bit later when we were in like the Jurassic period, when there was actually dinosaurs. You know, one of the last series of dinosaurs, and they said, okay, I see what goes on here and how this works. So we'll take this asteroid from interstellar space, and that's already coming in anyway, and we'll just give it a little nudge out here, give it a perfect trajectory to hit Earth, not big enough to break it up, but big enough to extinct everything on the fucking face of
So
it.
it's like a clean plate.
We'll restart.
Right.
Boom. So asteroid hits, they clean it out.
Right.
Everything but what's in the water, so you still have life, you still have your manipulation tactics in the water, because they think that, you know, if not all, very much of life that has ever started anywhere is probably going to start in the water, near hydrothermic vents where there's energy. You know, there's energy to be eaten and manipulated and grown into something. Who's to say they didn't come to Earth, find that, clean the dinosaurs out, start fresh? They manipulate something to start walking on all fours. You know, little rodents still exist.
Oh, absolutely.
They manipulate all these different things, and then they take their technology, their UFO technology that can apparently just warp faster than the speed of light because you don't see it moving. You know what I mean? You literally cannot see it because it's moving at the speed of light or faster.
Right.
So who's to say they don't just jump? Like, okay, we just did our little intervention. We'll give it time. We'll let life and the way that life works, we'll let it do its thing, and we'll take off. We'll go do something somewhere else. That's about 500,000 light years this way.
Right.
We'll manipulate that, and then we'll come back to Earth 500,000 light years again. Now you just let Earth 1,000,000 years into the future.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's hard to comprehend, but
So what about...
that's the way that time dilation works when you travel that fast.
With every experiment, obviously you're going to have something, you know, like a sample and a control and a population size. Yeah, I mean, Earth does have a high enough population. It's close to 8 billion, right? Or it is past 8 billion.
At this point, yeah.
But what if the entire Earth is just one planet in a massive population size of a test? And at the same time, if that's the test, what's the sample? Not sample. If that's a sample, what is the control? What's unmodified? Is it bigger? Is it scarier? Is it more smart? Is it more intelligent? Or is it dumber? Is it a cell organism?
This reminds me of that Rick and Morty episode where the thing that powers Rick's spaceship, that little cube in the front, it's like another mini universe of people that are working to power just his spaceship, and they think it's like a god, but it's really not. It's just Rick.
Yeah.
And so it's like how many times can you extrapolate that?
Right.
Infinitely.
And at the same time, you know, maybe we are, you know, in part of an experiment. But what if it's a working experiment? What if you have a working theory, and every time you come back, well, what's a way I can tune this? I can modify this. You know what I mean? You see like massive evolutionary changes, like every few million years. It's just how it is. You know what I mean? Like for a long time, humans were Homo neanderthalensis, which is like the Neanderthal that's in like Germanic people, you know, big foreheads, very smart, cave people. You know what I mean? And then before that you have like stuff like Homo erectus, like the first humans that could walk on 2 feet. Now we're Homo sapien. So, what is the next evolutionary scale, if there is one?
Do you think it would be technologically influenced?
I think not technologically influenced, but technologically accelerated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just
technologically almost tampered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to like that. Maybe humans get to the point where, you know, the government, I'm sure, is working on something. They probably already know what the point of human evolution is. Maybe they're trying to accelerate it, or maybe they see that maybe it's something bad. And technology is trying to tamper with it, not allow us to evolve to that point. You know what I mean? Like, maybe they know the next evolution of humanity is intergalactic travel or stellar travel. If they see that and they see anything outside of intelligent life other than us as a threat, they're keeping it under the wraps, or they just don't want anybody to know about it. Yeah, they keep giving us these little breadcrumbs, but you can't really disseminate that much. I mean, you can disseminate quite a bit of data from that video, but not as much as you need to like understand, like, yeah, obviously that may be intelligent life, but what do they look like? How big are they?
Right.
You know, how intelligent are they? Are they, you know, these massive...
Is that even them, or are those probes, like you said? Yeah.
Like drones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like probing. For me, it's like, almost looks like a military tactic. Setting in a reconnaissance team here and there. Little UFOs. Hey, check up on our experiment. Go do that. Maybe if we get to enough of a threat, that probing doesn't become probing anymore. Becomes, you know, some sort of attack, or maybe they find that we're enough of a threat intellectually that we're able to get to the point where we're almost out of interstellar travel. Just boom, done.
Well, the thing is if we're interplanetary, they have to hit more than one.
Right.
That's the thing. So if we get to that point, we become much less likely to become extinct at any point. Obviously, other than like stellar catastrophe, but
Have you heard of the Black Knight satellite? I think it's called that.
no.
It's this like unexplained. It's not really a satellite. It's technically a satellite because like the scientific definition of a satellite is just something that orbits a solar
A bigger body, yeah.
Right. So like the moon is technically a satellite. It's this really unexplained. There's only a few photos from the ISS of it. It's like this. It literally looks like Borg spaceship.
Yeah.
Like a big tall pillar. It's like all black, jet black.
Yeah.
Like abnormally black. Not like a meteor. Like jet black, like flat black. Big like pillar. I'm gonna try and pull it up, but it's estimated to have been around the Earth for like a long time, like 3 million years.
Really?
Which makes not a lot of sense. You know what I mean? Maybe that's like kind of a stationary base. Or maybe it's an older probe
Yeah.
showing how long
A
they've been
relic.
here. Like a rally point. Like a rendezvous point. Maybe.
Maybe. We're getting into Alex Jones theories.
We are. He's a great man.
He is.
He really is a great
He
man.
is. He is. We like Alex Jones. We enjoy his.
Alex Jones, bandvideo.com. That's his new thing. It's not Infowars.com. Because every time he sends a link on Twitter to Infowars.com, it immediately gets deleted. So it's like band.video. You know what I mean? It's pretty funny shit. I mean, it sucks that he's being censored because this is America, and yes, I know private companies can do what they please with their platform, but there's certain inalienable human rights that I believe people should be able to have. One of them is freedom of speech. That's not for the U.S., that's just for people in general. So to see someone like Alex Jones, who, granted, yeah, he has said a lot of awful shit that was wrong, but at the same time, he said a lot of shit way back in the day that everyone was like, yeah, okay, whack job, and it turned out to be real. And
Yeah.
he said a lot of stuff that a lot of people thought were wrong, and it turned out to be real. Epstein, for example. Aliens, UFOs. It's like, what else is he spewing out that people think is fucking insane? Like fucking,
Bob Lazar.
tinfoil hat.
Bob
But
Lazar
really,
went
he's
through the
right.
same thing. Bob Lazar went through the same thing in the 80s.
Yeah.
When he first initially came out about it, because obviously he was leaking classified intel to the general public, and the
Right.
military can kill you for that if they please.
Oh yeah.
So he went to the first media site that he possibly could, which happened to be I can't remember his name right now, but he's a big part of Bob Lazar's thing right now. Is he went to him and he pretty much put him on TV with his face blacked out and with no name, but he was like saying this stuff, and obviously no one believed it, and everyone went, yeah, fuck you, no way.
Yeah.
And the government, because no one believed him, probably that's the reason he's still alive.
Yeah.
But at this point, it's coming out. You know, he was saying that gravity was in wave form. He was saying that the UFOs were using wave gravity generating machines or materials.
Right.
And you know, we didn't discover that until 2016.
Right.
2016, someone won the Nobel Prize for hearing two black holes collide. And that literally, from like super far away, we felt the gravitational waves from here with our satellites. Yeah. And that proved that gravity was in wave form. That's not a particle. You know what I mean? It's a wave.
Right here. Black Knight satellite. Check this out.
So Bob Lazar had come out with a lot of things that he was called a crackpot for that became true much later.
There's a photo from Apollo 10. That doesn't look anything like what we know asteroids do. You know what I mean? You would think after, millions of years inside of the asteroid belt or traveling, they've hit stuff's been knocked off. Most of them are typically round in shape. You look at photos of asteroids, is it Phobos, the one that orbits Mars? It's a moon, but it's technically just a huge asteroid. It's round. Gravity tends to make stuff round. That's why planets aren't squares.
But the thing is it only does that if it's one, flipping,
right,
or two, has enough mass to actually create that gravity.
Right.
Because if it doesn't, then it will actually remain that shape. Like we found one called like Omahu or some shit like that. That's just it looks like a giant pillar.
Right.
And they were like, what the fuck is that? And then they realized it's because one, it's not flipping,
right,
and it's just kind of floating through space, and two, it's not big enough to actually make that round effect.
Right.
And that's an interstellar rock.
We've even seen, like asteroids that have been smaller than that, way smaller than that, and they're still round.
Yeah.
99% of the time they're round. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to see something like that where it's obviously
It's very odd.
very jagged, very odd shape, weird shape, not normal at all, not natural that we know of.
Right. Just it off.
Even the color, dude. Like it looked like SR-71 like paint, like flat black paint. Maybe that's form camouflage.
Could be. They do think that there's something beyond or something out in the what's the furthest asteroid belt there?
Kuiper?
The Kuiper belt.
Yeah.
They think there's something floating around out there that's not, lit up enough by our sun, but is still within the gravitational influence of it, just very, very lightly.
Right.
They think that there's something out there because of the movements on Pluto and the movements on those outer, smaller planets.
No shit.
As the further out you get into the solar system, the less the planets act like what you would expect them to.
Right.
They start to not move the way that you would think. Yeah.
Well, I know stuff like I believe it's like Neptune, right? Neptune's got a pretty it's not a typical orbit. It's like an oval, like a slingshot. You know what I mean? It goes boom, boom, like that. Whereas the Earth is, it's not completely circular, but it's a lot more circular than Neptune, a lot more circular than Pluto. Pluto's huge. Its orbit is insanely massive. So it's you look at stuff like that. Maybe the Kuiper belt is kind of like a way of getting around that travel. So in and out, in and out, in and out. Long dilations of time in between them.
Did you ever see the movement of the solar system, not like a 2D kind of thing, like a flat
3D.
plane. But it shows the sun moving around the galaxy because everything
The
is.
sun moves like this and the planets move like this.
Yeah, and the planets are tagging along with it. That shit's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah, it makes you really realize how lucky you are to be in a solar system that's stable.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? How long did it take the solar system to become stable like that? Ungodly amounts of time. 13.8 billion years amount of time.
Right. So, maybe, just maybe, galaxies must move that way. Star going like this, planets going like this, or maybe our star is just like the planets going around the galaxy moving. Or maybe it isn't. Maybe the galaxy is obviously inside of the middle of the galaxy, it's massive, super massive. So maybe the black hole's moving, or maybe these things share. Maybe being such a dense singularity in space and time that it can literally suck in
It's a pinpoint.
billions of stars, that maybe that is so dense and so precise that it doesn't move.
Could be.
Could be pinned, literally pinned.
Like
to
the
floor.
drain in a sink.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like a drain in a sink. So on that notion, I don't know. So I was gonna go off the super. Maybe we can leave that. Super colliders, black holes, and quasars. Episode 2. Stay tuned. This has been the conclusion of our first part of our podcast. Thank you for watching. you. This is Rob.
This is Barrett.
Thanks for coming down the rabbit hole. We'll see you next time.